What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas,
And I'm T-Bone.
and today we're coming at you with another video where we're going to talk about the New England Patriots Week 2 matchup against the Miami Dolphins. And, well, I am a sad man today. Yet another game against a top team in the league where we are inches away from a big fourth down conversion to give us first down in the road zone with a chance to tie or win the game. That last play, man, was frickin' brutal, I tell you. I basically, for an hour after the game, felt like crap. Just felt awful. Still don't feel great, but I'm a little more calmed down now. But, this is a tough one to lose. But, honestly, I think we deserve to lose it. I think New England needed a bit of a wake-up call. The offensive line today was not good enough. The running defense was not good enough. Our rushing game was not good enough. Now, I think part of it is that Strange and Onwenu are basically seeing their first football action for the first time in months. Both guys missed basically all of training camp. So, and were injured last week. So this is like the first time they're really getting any football. So I don't expect them to be like back to their old form. Trent Brown out, we're still have some offensive line injuries, but Lord have mercy, it was not pretty regardless. Mac Jones did look pretty good, had one bad throw for an interception. Parker probably could have done a better job on his route there, but Mac, not the problem this game. Mac did what he needed to do. Demario Douglas, I feel bad for him. Made a good play on third down, and they just got stripped from behind by Bradley Chubb. I think Douglas has to little bit of a better job, holding on to the ball there. But it was just a nice play by Bradley Chubb. So, I just realized Bradley Chubb did have forced fumble. I didn't put that in the graphic. Oh well. A little sad, not on top of my game this week, I guess. Feels like garbage. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Well, Vegas, I can tell that you're really messed up, man. I can tell this game meant a lot to you, and you had New England winning, and they did not come up with the win. Though they came closer than maybe I thought they would. I thought it would be close. I don't know if it was a one-score game that I thought they'd be in, but um, they certainly put up a fight. And I mean, both 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 sides of the ball on both teams really did solid work. It's just one played better. Uh, really, I mean, I know definitely Miami deserves to win this one, and like you said, New England deserves to lose this. But both both played good. I'm really on a lighter note, just to bring our fans back to a little bit of greener pastures. I love how Mac Jones is really just sharing the sugar with everyone. I mean, giving Ramondre some love. Mac Jones with the runs. Devontae Parker, Hunter Henry, Gesicki, Bourne, Smith-Schuster, Douglas. You know, sad about the fumble, but and on the other side, Tyreek was not able to get as many yards as probably as he would have liked, but he was able to get a tutty. But still, both teams are able to share the sugar a lot. Really, Dolphins defense, you weren't big on it. They came up big. I said I put some faith in them, especially Xavier Howard. But you know what? I think you've eaten enough of your own words, Vegas, and I'm sorry, but that's about my thoughts on this. Lots of good football on both sides. Lots of sharing the sugar and seeing how Mac played. And Mac played good. So, anything else, Vegas?
I mean, well, you talk about Miami defense playing good. I think the Miami defense was solid. I just think it was more New England shooting themselves in the foot. If New England played like they did in the last three quarters of Philadelphia, they easily win this game. New England did not play nearly as well. They did not play very disciplined. They definitely had some penalties. There were definitely a couple of penalties that shouldn't have been called, but there are also a couple times where we got away with things that did. The referees honestly weren't amazing, but they were relatively consistent in, calling calling bad stuff for both sides, and I hate to say it, it doesn't look like it in real time. I analyzed the video of that last play, went over it. He was short by 2 freaking inches, and it just hurts so much. You know, you wanted it to
Yeah.
be there. You know, it's a great play. If Gasecki chucks it back to Strange powers forward to get the first down, you think, oh, he's got it, and he's short by just such a slim margin. And honestly, like this game felt like a worse version of last game. New England dug themselves into a giant hole in the first half and fell just short of climbing out of it. And that's not sustainable. If New England wants to be a successful football team this year, they have to have better starts to the game. They will have a bad start and then will do well. Like, New England has shown that they are definitely a second half team. But they also got to at least not bend over backwards for the other team in the first half. You know, we've seen that twice now, and we've seen them again fall just short trying to overcome it. You can't keep doing that. Gonzalez, again, another clutch play, big time interception in the second half. He is looking like the steal of the draft for us. He's done an excellent job. Led the team in tackles as well. You know, and I mean, it's nice to see Parker back, who's out last week. He looked solid this week, obviously on the Mac Jones interception. Probably could have run a better route now. Mac probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. But the fact that Parker somehow ended up out of bounds, the defender on the inside of him, does not bode well from there. Henry, again, another solid game. Got a touchdown, you know. Like, Douglas, I feel bad for the kid. I really do. You know, I already talked about it, but I do feel bad for him. Ramondre, I think, has to be better. In a second, offensive line's going to be better. I honestly don't expect New England to play this poorly in the future. I think a lot of it does stem back to the offensive line, which you got injuries, and you got guys coming off of injuries who haven't done football in a while, who got to shake off some rust, you know. And Miami's got a decent front seven, so a lot of things to work on for New England, but there were some good moments, and the second half was definitely a lot better. The defense was big in the second half, but unfortunately did kind of get run over a little bit in the first half. I will say the blocked field goal was a nice little Belichick touch. That was a really cool play to just see him kind of start way out wide, motion in, and just get a running start, block that thing. Big time play. That got New England back in the game, basically. So, excellent play there. I mean, it just hurts, man. It just hurts. You want your team to win. You get so freaking close, and like, Miami's not a bad football team. Miami are one of the best teams in the league. You know, Philly, one of the best teams in the league. And at least you know you can compete with the best, and that if a few things go differently, you can beat the best. It's nice to be assured of that, but also there's just things that's gotta be done better. There just has to be better execution, less silly penalties, more discipline. You know, like, in the end, it wasn't enough, and even though some guys had good games, like Mac Jones played well, minus one throw. Gonzalez had a really good game. Judon got a sack. Like, wasn't enough. Raheem Mostert ran all over us, ran for 2 touchdowns. The run defense, absolutely abysmal in this game, and I do not want to see that again. It was not good at all.
Raheem Mostert did a lot, man.
I mean, like, I don't know. I honestly think this is, in terms of the quality of play, this is going to be a lower point in New England's season. I genuinely cannot see a Bill Belichick team making this many mistakes going forward. I think
So you
New,
envision you
New England
go ahead.
usually takes post Brady. New England usually takes a couple weeks to kind of get it going. I think next week going into the New York Jets, I think is going to be an opportunity for them with Rodgers being out. They're going to be facing Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson is a guy who they know they can beat, and it gives their offense a good test in that Jets defense. So the Jets coming off of a blowout loss to the Cowboys, going to be want to try to bounce back from that. So that's going to be a good game. I think that's going to be a good game for New England. New England definitely. I think that's a must win for them. Must win. You cannot start the season 0-3. And I understand your first 3 games are against 3 top 10 teams, Like, that New England schedule is difficult, but regardless, you got to win at least one of them. And it feels like New England could have won both so far. So, it's rough. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at the Jets game. I honestly do think we win that just because of Zach Wilson. Bill Belichick will always terrorize Zach Wilson. That is there's death taxes and Bill Belichick terrorizing young quarterbacks. So
Vegas.
we do have his number.
Vegas, do you think Bill Belichick's gonna hang it up soon or no?
Not within the next 2 or 3 years. No, I don't know what he plans, but I have him here for at least this year and then 3 years beyond it.
Do you think
I
he's still got it?
I think he does. I honestly think if Belichick were not the coach of this team, the team would be doing worse. And people hate on general manager Bill Belichick. I disagree. Bill Belichick hasn't like brought in a superstar like Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, and he's had a couple of misses with wide receiver drafts recently. But like, Bill has still built a good football team. Regardless of this loss, regardless of New England's play, they're still a good football team who are good enough to make the playoffs and have shown the first 2 weeks of the season that they're good enough to compete with the best of the best, and they're good enough to beat the best of the best. Now, they fell inches short both times, but they've shown that they're good enough to do it. Even though, there's going to be things to work on. It's week 2. There's going to be things to work on. The team is going to grow. But Bill has done a good job putting this team together, I think. I honestly think Mac has enough to work with. As long as the offensive line is healthy, I think it's enough to work with. Now, would it be nice to have one of those guys? Yes. But it's also harder to win long term because then those guys end up becoming ridiculously expensive. And that's not Belichick's philosophy. Belichick is going to try to build a team that is able to sustain long-term success where he's not going to have to pay oodles of money to one player. That's just not his style. So
Build around the team.
yeah,
Build around the team. Build success around the team, not one
Bill
guy.
prefers a full squad, and like you talked about it. New England Patriots spread the ball out a lot. They did it last game. They spread the ball out a ton, both games, and that's what I expected from them. This comes as no surprise to me. New England doesn't have a superstar per se, but they got a lot of really good guys. Devontae Parker, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, and Kendrick Bourne and Juju Smith-Schuster too, are all very, very reliable players. They're all like good quality players. Henry, tight end 1, very solid tight end. He's honestly had one of the best starts of the year in the tight end position. It's nice to see him getting much more involved. Gesicki could honestly be tight end 1 on a lot of teams. So having those two is really big. And, they've combined for this game. They combined for 11 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. So, and O'Brien knows how to get tight ends into the game. Bourne is Mac's number 1 guy, has always been. I don't know why Patricia didn't use him last year. I mean, that's kind of, old news. Parker, nice to see him back from injury. Those guys are all... Bourne and Parker could be good quality wide receiver twos on basically almost any team outside of, like, I don't know, Philadelphia and Cincinnati, because they both have just broken wide receiver pairs. But, like, they're still good players. Smith-Schuster still a good player, even as wide receiver one on a Super Bowl winning team last year. And then you got Demario Douglas, who had the fumble, but he still looks good. He's a very fast and explosive player. Does he have stuff to work on? Yes, but he's a guy who can turn into a guy. But, like, it's not buy one superstar. It's buy a bunch of guys who are reliable and spread the ball around. Like, that's just the philosophy. And honestly, I think it's going to work. Bill built a 20-year dynasty. Sustaining long-term success, no matter who you have at quarterback, is very, very, very difficult in the NFL, and Bill was able to do it for 20 years. He's just trying to set the team up for long-term success. So even if this isn't the year, and, given how difficult our schedule is and how difficult the league is this year, it very easily might not be, And it's not necessarily going to be on Bill. That's just going to be bad luck. It still steps in the right direction, and next year New England has a lot of cap space to work with too. So
already looking at next year. I mean, I thought you were thinking that you guys could win a playoff game.
I think we can, but you asked about Bill Belichick, the GM, so I'm just kind of talking about that.
Fair enough.
A little bit.
Bill Belichick is a man of many talents.
He is. Bill Belichick gets more crap than he deserves now. Have some of his draft picks been a little bit suspect? Yes, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. However, Bill generally is pretty good in the draft. This past draft might go down as his best. Christian Gonzalez and Keon White, stud players. Marte Mapu looking like he can potentially become a guy. Bryce Behringer, excellent punter. He was really, really good in this game. He had a great game today, and honestly, we needed him to. Chad Rayland remains to be seen. Did make a field goal. So, his first NFL field goal this week. Hasn't missed an extra point yet, so far, done his job for what we've needed him to do. I mean, you got Demario Douglas, who's already, like, being a contributing factor to this team. Like, he had 4 catches for 40 yards last week, only 2 for 19, kind of got less looks after the fumble, but I still think he's a guy who can become something and do well,
Yeah.
Keyshawn Boutte, first-round potential. Injuries kind of hampered him in college, but he's got potential to be a superstar if we can unlock it, So this year was a really good draft. Belichick generally has had good drafts. A couple of misses recently, but generally good drafts. And I think he's done a good job building this team in a very, very difficult league to build a winning team. I don't expect a Super Bowl this year. But I think Bill is trying to create a team that can win one within the next few years. And I think he's moving in the right direction. We certainly have a much better squad this year than last year. Every part of the offense improved, and honestly, every part of the defense improved too. So, It remains to be seen. This one's a tough one to swallow, but we're on to New York next week, and I think that, one, that's a must-win game, and two, I think it's a game that we will win because we have to. If we don't, then I don't know.
It's gonna be a tough pill to swallow if you lose 3 times in a row. And first time Pats have been 0-2 since 2001.
I am curious what happened at the end of 2001.
To what, the 2001 Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, was it what?
There
wasn't anything special about the 2001 Patriots or anything like that, right?
No, can't say I can remember anything. I know that their quarterback got injured sort of early on in the season, and then some backup took over. And, well,
think that backup was pick 199 in the draft the year before.
Maybe. I think so.
Six rounder out of Michigan. Definitely
Yep.
didn't lead the team
So
to Super Bowl number 1 of 6 in a 20-year dynasty or anything like that. So, rough start. I mean, here's the thing. 0-2 is never nice, but the first 2 games were against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins, and neither of those teams are very easy teams for anyone to beat. But
no, not at all.
But we hung around in both of them, and for stretches of the game, outplayed. If we can avoid digging ourselves into holes at the early parts of the game, we will be a scary good football team. If we can be a little more disciplined. There's a lot of little things to work on. I think they will improve. The big question is, can we stop digging ourselves into holes at the beginning of the game? If we can do that, not a lot of teams can stop us. We have to stop stopping ourselves. If we do that, well, I think we're playoff bound.
Good said. Very well said, Vegas. Very well said.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe, and we will see you all in the next video.